Guys, thank you for watching the show. As always, please, if you can, go into the description. There is a Patreon, there is a Locals, there is a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Buy Me a Coffee, Kofi, Kofi. Those are all ways that you guys can independently fund this show so that I am not beholden to YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, etc. The vast majority of you guys do anywhere from $1 to $3 a month. It makes a world of a difference. There's 12,000 of you guys on YouTube. The show runs on 5 grand a month. My goal is to get away from Rumble, Spotify, YouTube in terms of being beholden to them so that the show is kind of invincible and can just keep going. So a lot of you guys have joined. Right now the show is making like $1,000 a month just from all the little donations. My goal for the end of the year is to get it up to five because that's how much it costs to run. So thank you. And if you want something in return, you guys can go to the description. Sport Drink sponsors me now. Promo code Tommy's Podcast, and there's the link in the description. Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food. They've been sponsoring me for a couple of years. And we are recording on Thursday, February 19th, 2026 at 12:31 p.m. Eastern Time with not Tom Lemon of Sport Drink. And I legitimately thought somebody was fucking with me the other week when I posted like whatever it was, like a month ago. They had lost a ton of weight. And I was like, yeah, I'm using less salt. And somebody had tagged you and you commented like, take more salt. I thought it was a fake. I was like, sport drink. I was like, that's not real. And I
Yeah,
started,
I
yeah,
feel like I have to remind people every now and then that no, we're a real company and we have a real product.
yeah,
We called Sport Drink and it's an electrolyte powder. And but one of the things I wanted to do with the Twitter, because Twitter's our main avenue for advertising. The main thing I wanted to do was have it be just a good account to follow. Most of the posts aren't even related to the product. Every now and then, there'll be some serious health posts or posts about the product itself. But I would say 9 out of 10 of the posts are not that. So I think it is confusing to some people. But it's fine because if they follow us and they stick around long enough, or they just see the posts, every now and then they'll eventually figure it out.
yeah,
Um, but I think people appreciate that, like, it's a business that isn't trying to constantly sell you a product or be, um, what's it called? Like thirsty, like like desperate, to sell the product. And then I've also noticed that since our account has been growing, that other people are copying us or trying to, and they're not good at it. And the reason is because this is just our personality. Like, we're not trying anything. It's just how we post. Like, if this was like our personal account, this is how it would be posting. So yeah.
yeah. You can't fake that. And I mean, I've been doing this show for 6 years, coming up on 2,000 episodes, and I've had some advertisers before, and it's all. I mean, perhaps I'm wanting my cake and eat it too, but I've always hated it because it's always just this weird, like, make sure you plug the thing at the beginning of the show or make
Uh,
sure. And I'm like, I mean, dude, come on. Like, that's not, or put it behind a paywall. I'm like, dude, I grew up with Napster. Like, there is no such thing as a paywall. Like, and
yeah.
so to have some, that's why I dare I say, I went full like cuck and I was like, dude, please sponsor me because I just thought it was so fucking funny. I was just following your account. I thought it was so, because I've had advertisers for like whatever. I just won't name whoever, but like would like drop me because like use too much language. And then I'm watching yours and like more than anything, I was like, oh, at the very least, that's not a company that's gonna like get its panties in a bundle because it's not you drop the corporate shtick of like you should buy this and 30% off and instead it's just like it's some comment about watching a short Mexican buy the ingredients for plastic explosives and I was like what the fuck is this? It's like the and that's the thing, man, is like it's not a lot, but in terms of like conversion of like getting like fans and people to like buy, I think they've only bought like a couple things. That's right. I don't know what this says about me. That's already like 1,000% better than anything I've done. just because in
Yeah.
general, it's all guys my age that are like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think companies getting preemptively offended, like for so like if you say something and then they're like getting offended on behalf of their potential clientele, I think all that is kind of dying. That mentality is kind of dying. And it's just that most people haven't realized it yet. I think most people are fed up about that. And they shouldn't worry about that. And the thing is like, we all have our political beliefs, but Sport Drink isn't like a right wing electrolyte brand. We don't want to be like the Black Rifle Coffee of electrolytes, like because then you're kind of just boxing yourself into a thing, and then you always have to have like an opinion on things. And like I'm sick of companies having an opinion one way or another. I think it's kind of cringe. So it's like we've kind of like superseded that. We've kind of like gone above that where like, yeah, we have our personal beliefs and opinions, but the company itself is like above all that. Like, who cares what company, like if a company is pro Israel or pro Palestine, like either way, I hate you if you say anything about that. Like, I don't care. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like, we say whatever we want to say, and you can decipher that as right wing, but it's not. It's above politics. Like, um, I think the new thing we're going to start seeing is like more and more companies trying to capture that kind of mentality. And again, it has to be genuine, and like we're not trying to we're not trying to educate people, and we're not trying to like preach or anything like that. And the era of politics and like corporate America has to die. And that's our mentality. It's like we're just above that and we're not focused on that. And I think that's what's unique about the Twitter. Like sometimes I'll see like tranny accounts um like something that we post, and then like a right wing account will like what we post. And it reminds me of the show Smiling Friends. I don't know if you know that show.
No.
It's a really good animated show on Adult Swim that like equally, and I'm like adjacent to them in the sense that like I'm friends with a producer who's a producer on that show. But I was talking to him the other day, and we were talking about how like that show has like extreme left, like the weird people online that love that show, and then like Nazis on the right who love that show. And I kind of want to position like Sport Drink like that, where you kind of just have to like it. So yeah,
It's yeah, in terms of being above it, I think Michael Jordan said that in like the nine, I don't know what he does now, but in like the 90s, like you never comment on like left and right, and he was like, man, they both buy shoes. It's just like
exactly, exactly. I
that
mean,
simple. You could be like, well, he just wants money. Like that's how a
that's
business.
the
That's the.
goal of a business. You
Well,
think that
what's your
there's like a
stance? No, 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 no. What's the
yeah.
profit margin?
Yeah, I mean, you think like when we get an order, I see a little R or a little D next to their name, like if they were politicians, like,
Yeah,
oh, that's a Democrat, we're canceling their order. Like, no, I mean, we want this to be for everyone. Now, it so happens to be that a right-wing position is like free
free.
speech, I guess. And I guess, it
That's a
used to be both.
projection. If you
It
say
used
it's
to
free
be
speech and they go, that guy's right wing, that's on you.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
on
yeah,
you.
yeah. But because it used to be kind of like an American position, not a right or left thing. We just so happen to live in a time where right wingers care about it more because their ideas are right now more based in reality than people on the left. But yeah, I don't care. Like, I mean, this is a product for anyone who wants a better for you Gatorade or something. Like we put a lot of care into everything about the product, from the ingredients to the packaging. Like, there's no like plastic lining inside the can that's dirty just because it's been wet. But um, there's no plastic lining in the can. The only plastic we have is this top, So, we all we want to do is just make a really good product, and I don't care who buys it. It's for everyone.
Like in an abstract sense, you almost want to take like the Raytheon approach and be like, I don't care if you're pro-Palestine or Israel. Like we'll sell you weapons. I mean, one will be
Well,
through a series of shell companies because we can't be overtly selling you weapons. But I mean, well, what do you need? I mean, we're the
yeah,
CIA. We can openly fund, Ukraine, or we can through like 9 different shell corporations get you some Stinger missiles. Like
yeah. I jokingly, I've been trying to get Palmer Lucky's attention.
I've been trying to get them on my fucking. I can't.
I mean, obviously, he's a billionaire, but
Yeah,
I've been trying to get his attention, and eventually, I think I will. I think I know people who know him, but I want Sport Drink to be the official electrolyte brand for the military industrial complex. Like, I think that to me is like a funny idea because
that's incredible.
think about it, like electrolytes or energy drinks or what have you. There's thousands of them, and obviously they've all cornered sports and extreme sports and athletes and all that, so no one's cornered the military industrial
Dude,
complex. I'd love to sponsor, be their official electrolyte brand. So but that again, that's like our mentality. It's like I try to find the humor in everything, and I try to, like, at least for the Twitter, it to be like an entertaining thing to follow.
I actually I actually know some like former Delta Force guys. Like I'm just
Tell
thinking,
them, tell
I'm
them
just
about Sport Drink.
that I'll make a note right now. My buddy, I mean, when I didn't say no, I mean I've had him on like 100 times. So I'll make a note right now. Uh, yeah, I was just thinking of like those old like Gatorade commercials where they're like sweating the colors, but it's just like a bunch of like it's just the D boys raiding Maduro and like shooting Cubans in the face.
Exactly. I would
Like
have
black and white
loved to
ad,
be,
like purple
yeah,
sweat.
I would have loved to be the electrolyte brand for overthrowing Venezuela.
Yeah,
Like, like they say it was they call it the
the
discombobulator.
discombobulator. Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about that, and I would have liked President Trump to be like, it was the discombobulator and Sport Drink that really helped us.
Sports. You and because in a way, yeah, you could kind of go from like the whole like Second Amendment, like defend your home, to like defend your hemisphere, and it's just Delta
Hmm.
Force shooting a bunch of Cubans and they're just blowing up and shit. I
Yeah.
mean, you almost kind of could, and I don't know if I'm like reaching here on Palmer. I actually was like watching a couple interviews about him the other month, and he does make some good points about really how since the fall of the Soviet Union, we've extrapolated and we've made these, I think he calls these like our current weapons are almost works of art. Like they're so intricate. The B-2 bomber, it's $2 billion a piece. It's all and it's fantastic. And all this stuff was meant to shoot a near peer competitor. And then we just saw with, global war on terror that you didn't need this stuff. You needed simple munitions. And that's what World War II was, is we just, I think Bill Burr said, we just happy mealed it. We just made so much. It didn't matter if it was shit. We had so much of it. And he was going on to say, right now China is where we were in the 1940s in terms of they can just make so much of it. And so his whole thing was uh, using a World War II doctrine. He's like, our new cruise missile, we made it so that it can be fabricated in any car fabrication plant in the United States. So in terms
Hmm.
of just like keeping it simple, that's his whole thing. Fewer pieces, fewer points of error. You could kind of overlap that with sport drink and be like, we're all about just happy meal and they keep it simple. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're walking into the meat grinder and shooting Chinamen, like just really, really go for the jugular.
Yeah. I think Palmer Luckey would like
I think you
Sport
would.
Drink. I think that, like, one of those guys like Elon or whatever, I think, like, once they find us, it sounds like a company that they would just want to buy.
Yeah,
Like I can see Sport Drink being a part of the Boring Company,
yeah.
Elon's pet project. Um, but I think eventually they'll find us, and we'll somehow get in touch with them. I mean, I believe in manifesting things. I know that's a chick thing, but I think there's truth to that. Like if you believe something will happen, it will happen, whether good or bad.
I don't think it's a
So
I don't think it's a chick thing. I'm a science-minded asshole. I got into medical school and pharmacy school and I've since come back to God, but that's the whole other thing. I don't think it's nothing. I really don't.
no,
Not
I
to
think that there's something to it. I've done things in my life that I I literally
they're
just
absurd.
said out loud
Yeah,
beforehand, and then they happened a few years later, and then
they're
like
absurd.
create yeah, absurd things that you just the odds of happening are very low.
I think I think that we're, in my opinion, because it seems to be kind of a spooky magic, not to immediately go off in a different direction, but I think it does have an effect. I think the failure is when people think that's all you have to do. I think
No,
it's
you have to be proactive.
you have to work extremely hard, but I think the
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
work extremely hard and don't visualize, and then the people that visualize and don't work, I think you're both missing. So the guy I just mentioned, Dale, he's the youngest ever member of Delta Force. So let's drive this point home. He's never smoked pot in his life. This isn't some white chick with dreads. Youngest ever member of Delta Force at 23. I think the average age is like 35. He's in his 60s now. He talks about visualization and manifesting as routinely and matter of factly as like making sure you have extra ammo.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
that's not like white chick thing. That's
No, I mean it's also the laws of attraction. I mean, if you're a good-looking guy but you have a bad attitude and you're like women don't like me or whatever, you're never going to find someone because everyone can see people can see that
people can
subconsciously.
feel
They
it.
can see that. They can feel it, they can see it. They can see it on your face. And people don't want to be around like woe is me, a woe is me type of personality, a defeatist uh attitude. But if you think of yourself as like a winner, and if you think of like what you're doing as something that's going to succeed, then it is. It just is.
Yeah, I'd stay delusionally optimistic on my podcast. I mean,
Hmm.
like I don't care if it's real or fake. Like it works.
Yeah.
It's I was banned from YouTube for 5 years. Like I've interviewed generals, Apollo astronauts, like Roseanne. I texted Roseanne Barr yesterday. Like this is all stuff you can do if you. And I also this is the way I look at it is like as advanced as we are right now in 2026 relative to whatever, almost none of our stuff would matter if you went back in time, right? So if you and I go back 200 years and we hand somebody, an iPhone, what does it do in 12 hours when it's out of battery? It's fucked. What does it matter if you go and tell them, the laws of physics or like the earth is actually round? It doesn't matter. It has no meaningful effect on them. And I thought about this a lot. There's really only one modern bit of knowledge that would have an effect if you went back in time. It has nothing to do with electromagnetics, nothing. It's germ theory. If you just went back and
Mm.
said, hey, because up until the late 1800s, surgeons just wiped off the blade in between surgeries. If you just went
Yeah.
back and said, don't do that, and if your friend is sick, don't breathe in what they breathe in, that's the only thing I can think of that would have an immediate effect on reality. You'd go, oh my God, okay. If years or centuries from now they find out that, the brain has some quantum entanglement effect on reality and timelines, if somebody from 200 years in the future came back and started talking about anti-gravitics to us, we'd be like, sure, it sounds great. Or if they were like, the universe is curved, we'd be like, okay, like, what do I do with my
Hmm.
podcast? If they came back and said, hey, man, if you just have a piss poor attitude, like, you're going to get a piss poor outcome.
Hmm.
I've thought about that a lot, actually. So it's, when you brought it up, that kind of rings a bell with me. I don't know if it's real, but man, can you imagine going back 200 years and telling somebody like, dude, just don't put that thing on that open cut. You're gonna be dead in 12 hours. And they're like, yeah, fuck you,
Yeah.
dude. And they keep, playing with dog shit with a cut on your thumb. You'd be like, oh my God in heaven. Like you'd wince. I just always think about like if somebody from the future was like coming back here, like you don't have to believe me. I'm like, dude, my podcast sucks. It's never gonna work. They'd be like, dude, don't do that. Don't say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to completely
That's why
change.
it's not
Yeah.
that's why it's not a good thing to call your brand liquid death.
Yeah. That's a good point. Unless, of course, you're a satanic pedophile.
Yeah.
Not to say that they, not to slander them. I'm just saying that seems to be a larger portion of our population than we maybe thought was humanly possible.
Yeah. Yeah. But all of it's real, I think. I mean, I think that I mean, it's kind of like even the placebo effect. I mean, like a lot of people talk about that, and then you have to think like, oh, then placebo is real. It's just your state of mind. Like if someone gives you a sugar pill and they're like, this is gonna cure whatever ailment you have, like that you're dealing with, and then you start feeling better, and then you're doing better, and then you find out it was a sugar pill.
Fuck do you
It was
care?
never really the pill. It was just your thought process. So I mean, all that's real.
Yeah.
If every day you're like, I have cancer, I'm gonna get cancer, or I'm afraid of cancer, and you keep thinking that or saying that, you're gonna get cancer.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
And like, yeah, I was gonna say there was one study years ago, or it wasn't even like a light thing where it was like, hey, this pill's gonna cure your strep throat. It was like someone had broken their femur. And I think it was in like it must have been in Afghanistan. It was in a because that would be unethical to like do it in a hospital where you have morphine. But I think it was in like Afghanistan or something. And the medic legitimately they were just out, and he like shot him with like saline. And the guy
Mm,
and they say like I think breaking a femur is the one thing that's lower than or the only thing higher than it is a childbirth in terms of pain you can undergo without passing out.
yeah.
And that gave this guy the shot. And in like, I don't know, a couple minutes, he was like, oh, he's like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And he stopped sweating. His femur was broken, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That ain't fake. And
No.
also,
So, but that applies to everything in life.
yes. And here's the other thing.
All that to say that Palmer Lucky will,
By sport
find
drink.
us
Yeah, yeah.
in by sport
We're
drink,
bringing it
and
back here. Yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Bring it full circle. That's something I do. That's actually, I mean, it's actually why I like stopped reading comments on everything like years ago on like my
Mm,
podcast because I realized there could be 1,000 people praising the show or the interview, and my brain doesn't register any of those. And I see one that is like a slight jab, and it will be in my head for like 24 hours. And it goes back to thinking if your brain has an effect on whatever reality tunnel you're in, why would you allow any contaminants? Why would you knowingly allow any contaminants? And I think that's a huge part of it. And I think, I don't know about you, but I've also found it's important to visualize and to focus on something, even if no part of me even believes it. Like it's one thing if
mm,
it's kind of within the realm of possibility. You know, I want to grow my podcast 10% this month. Like, okay, okay, but I could do it. Now, I mean when it's like completely not even remotely, when I'm like, it'll make me a millionaire in the next 2 years. Every part of me is like, what the fuck are you talking about? I think that there is a part that so long as you don't surrender even the free will to say it out loud, even if every other part of you is like, you're like, oh, I'm nice and warm, and you're like undergoing hypothermia and your dick falls off. If I think that the last, like the Alamo of free will is to still, no matter what, even in the face of delusion, to just keep saying the thing you want. I think it's almost like a form of consent. Like it has to
hmm.
unfold that way. I don't know if I'm hitting anywhere close to home.
No, I think it's true. Yeah. I mean, with the comment stuff, like I uh I definitely don't look at I scroll through comments just to see if anyone has a question about the product or whatever. But other than that, like you know,
Yeah.
or if it's like a negative thing, I can make it into a positive thing, you know, and make it funny. Like if there's like an ability to turn it into like a piece of content or whatever. But like, do I let it get to me? No. Um, I think people who argue online, it's like that's detrimental to your health. And also there's no point. Um, it's like a waste. It's a waste of time. It's like you don't care about your, you don't value your time. Um, I don't understand why people do it. And then to like hyperfixate on negative comments or whatever, and then ignore the good stuff. I think that's probably something that we evolved with, you know, it's probably something
Sure.
that um I think that like that was more relevant if you were in a tribe and you needed the tribe to survive, you know, like you know, like everyone needed to kind of be on the same page, you know, or else you'd be exiled and then you'd die.
Yeah.
But it's not really applicable on the internet, and it's not the same, but it's like we haven't like evolved past that, you know, because we needed that in the past.
If it bleeds, it leads was absolutely a massive advantage in like primitive times. If you were in a village of 50 people, hey, it's all well and good if somebody found a cool rock, if somebody saw a rainbow, that's all well and good. If Bob got eaten by a saber-toothed tiger because he went west, it's very important that that news travels far faster than the
Yeah.
fact that Billy found a dandelion. That's
Yeah, like
very
no one.
vital.
Yeah. But I mean on the
Does
internet
not apply
it
to
doesn't
8
apply.
billion. So the whole thing about that is in that village, you're within eye shot. You know, 50 people, you've maybe gone to those mountains once with your dad. That's it.
Yeah.
When we're peering through the rest of the world in reality with 8 billion people, every saber-toothed tiger story is now in your head 24 hours a day, every
Hmm.
second. And your body is so the thing about the saber-toothed tiger news is when that happens, it's important it gets everywhere. But then that probably doesn't happen again for like 6 months or 6 weeks. It is every second that you're online, every single
Nonstop.
second.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's a low impulse control thing to debate people online or care what they say, or like if they shit on your thing. If like you have a product and like someone shits on it or whatever. Like we have mostly good reviews on our website, and like every day I check if there's any pending reviews, and I can block bad reviews and not have it go on the website. But we have so many good ones that why would I even need to do that? And it would make it look weird if we don't have any bad reviews. So I welcome the bad reviews, and every time we get one, I'm curious if like they have a valid point.
sure.
And sometimes it's like, oh, it's too salty. I'm like, that's retarded. It's an electrolyte drink. It's supposed to be salty. But I like getting those. I like getting the bad reviews every now and then. Um, because you know, it's it's something I could use, and you know, it validates the whole thing, like in the sense that like we're not just letting good reviews go up on there. But yeah, I mean it's all the same thing. I don't argue online or anything. It's pointless.
It is a bit retarded. Do you meditate?
No.
I've been I have to. All right, let's just blow my brains out.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I started meditating in college because I had to. It allowed me to focus. I find that the longer I go, and I have to be clear, I don't meditate in terms of like trying to reach a higher plane. I'm a crazy person. I have to slow my brain down.
Hmm.
Um, I find the longer I go without meditation, some things I noticed cheat on my diet a little more, maybe stay up later than I need to. Um, the biggest thing is how quick I am to engage and argue online in terms of
Mm.
literally never doing it. I I download Twitter every day, post the podcast, and then delete it because I know it will suck me in and I will start all sorts of retarded shit. The longer I go without focusing myself, the much more frequently and aggressively I get involved in the dumbest. Time sucks and emotion sucks. It's retarded.
Yeah.
It's genuinely retarded behavior.
I mean, I spend a lot of time on my phone and on Twitter, but it's for the company in the sense that like I I want to see like what's trending and like what people are talking about and see if it's relevant to repurpose for like something to post for us or to make a joke about or whatever. So you have to like sift through a lot of things and try to, find a gem or whatever. Um, but I don't think I've like argued with anyone online or tried to convince anyone online in like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. Um, like I don't know what the point of it is, you know. I don't know if like me arguing with someone will change the course of the country.
What if it
Um,
did?
or I don't think it would. Or if it like, you know, I don't know. I have better things to do. Before Sport Drink, I was doing like a political podcast for like 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, called Wrong Opinion. Like I was on censored TV on Gavin McInnes's network, and I
Okay.
was on Patreon before that, but they banned me. And then I was on Gumroad, and then I went to censored, and like I've guest hosted on Infowars, and you
Fuck yeah.
know, but um, I was always behind a paywall, so I was never under the delusion that I was like powerful enough to convince people of anything, and like I had a dedicated little like audience for it. And people appreciated what I had to say, and um, but that's as far as I went with that stuff. Like I just don't like it's I don't know. In that whole world also of like the political pundits and all that, all those people are weirdos. Like no, none of them are normal, and like they all want to. It's like a shortcut to get famous without being like a talented actor or whatever. And they're all weird. Like all of them are weird. I've met all of them. Most of them are just not normal people. So I don't know. Like I would say, my opinions, and I would express my opinions and even like tweet about things, and I'd have things go viral, and I'd have things like the Washington Post come after me. And I always made a joke about it. Like if the Washington Post approached me um, about something, I wouldn't take their questions seriously, and I'd like write back a whole thing that like made no sense. Because like I'm not trying to convince people who read the Washington Post or anything like that. Like if you don't understand me, then I don't care. I'm not a politician, you know. I don't know if all of that makes sense, but
No,
I
that
just don't
does.
care.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, you just immediately don't even address their question. Just come back and be like, why in God's name, immediately after World War II, did we send a carrier strike group to Antarctica? What were we doing down there? The war just ended, and
Yeah,
and we're looking for U-boats. Like, what is that all about? Just make them
yeah,
publish that. No, in terms
yeah.
of
What's going on with the Hollow Earth? You
yeah,
know,
what are we doing down there? How come you still can't get down there? And they're like, that's not
what
what
was
we're talking
Admiral
about.
Byrd doing? What
What
was
was
he
Admiral
doing?
Burton? Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
what was he doing?
All right, game recognized, game. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, go down there. Yeah, Operation High Jump. What are they doing down there? Germany had an
yeah,
outpost called New Swabia. What's that about?
yeah,
Hey, man, we're asking about sport drink. Like, yeah, man.
yeah.
And then like, what were you saying about? And that does kind of the political beat is it's a very effective grift if you're just stuffing your pockets, which some people are doing, and I mean, I can't even really blame them. It's all right, but it's a never-ending well. It's fully filled every day,
I mean, the
and it
trick is, yeah, you have to, in that world, you have to be outraged about something all the time, and you have to be offended by something all the time, and never really offer any solutions or
no.
um, never really like you they're you know what they are, these people, they're incurious people. They're not curious. They were never asking like, why is this happening? Um, the trans thing, for instance, like why is this happening? It was always like the visceral disgust of it. Like these people are freaks. Like, yeah, that's surface level.
What's
Talk
behind
about
it? Why
why
is
is it
it?
happening? Like there was never anything interesting, and it's so easy to just be like bombastic and crazy and loud and be like these are freaks, like. But so I never found any of it interesting, and I was always like near these people, and they're all disingenuous. Like they're just trying to get famous and money and whatever. And like if they're getting canceled, that's a really good method of like getting people to rally behind you and raise money or whatever. But I don't know, like the trans thing, just as an example, and not to attack those people.
I don't give a shit, dude.
No, no, I know. Um, like the way I broke it down, and I like anything that I talked about, I tried to be a little bit more curious about, and like I tried to go a little bit more in depth about, and also I focused mostly on like cultural stuff than political stuff. Like if you ask me like, what are your thoughts on whatever bill? I'd be, I don't know, I don't fucking know. Like I'm not a political expert, political scientist or whatever. But like the trans thing to me, I always found it as like it was and it's kind of maybe dying down a little bit, but I always saw it as like a fashionable thing.
Hmm.
And then the more nefarious part of it was a way to it was a way to persuade young people into like a death cult, where like they would say your chosen family, like after you like reject your actual family, you go to your chosen family. And that's literally what cults do. Is like they convince you like your family's against you, you should break away from them, they're not good, they don't have your best interest at heart. Join us, we're your family, we're your family now. It's the chosen family. And it's a death cult on so many levels that they go after kids. And by the way, like abortion for so many years is so popular as like an option, and it's become like convincing women that it's like a haircut, it's no big deal. Everyone does it, it's no big deal. But if you decided like, no, F that, I'm not getting an abortion, I'm gonna have my kids and I'm gonna have a family, then they found another way to go after your kids in life. And then to convince them to join this death cult that is a way to not only rip you away from your family, but um, it's a way to persuade you into not partaking in like participating in humanity and in continuing your lineage and having a family. And when people made fun of Christians in America for sounding the alarm on all these things like 40, 50 years ago, there was a war on Christianity and the war on family. Like people thought like that's an overreaction, but now we're starting to see like, no, it's not. And there's a reason behind that. I mean, it's all connected. Like if you tear the fabric of society, the first place you got to do it is like, vilify religion. And then you vilify the family and you deconstruct the family and disassemble it. And then, for people who even have families anymore or have babies or whatever, like you go after them and you completely demoralize the population. And then there won't be any pushback against anything. And you can literally just open the borders, replace the people that typically, historically would push back against things more so than other groups, because they're completely demoralized. And then you introduce fentanyl and like all these things that like just completely decimate communities. And then you can replace them with people who are more agreeable and will take welfare and don't care about the
Liberties and
Constitution or
rights.
yeah, or anything like that. And so my whole point being is like when I did have like a political show, like that's what I'd talk about rather than like the soundbite TikTok clips of like, look at these freaks. Like libs of TikTok is like the whole thing with libs of TikTok is like, look at these freaks. And it's like, yeah, I mean, like
Sure, but
we used to have circus shows 100 years ago with like freaks, literal freaks, you
yeah.
know, and people would be like, look at those freaks. Okay. So after that, like, why is this happening?
But
No one
now
ever
what?
really, yeah, no one really ever broke down why it was happening. So like all that to say that's I forgot why I was talking about
No, no,
that,
no,
but
no. We're talking about the never-ending kind of bullshit and easy way to the top to just be a political pundit. And it's like you're saying all that stuff, like 30 seconds into that, they'd like cut you off on Fox News. If you'd be like,
yeah, I mean
what's behind it?
it's all performative.
Performative at
And
best.
yeah, and there's no solution to anything. And it's uninteresting. And yeah, I mean, I'm really glad I'm not involved in that world anymore. Although I tried my best to like put something out that was interesting, um, and have interesting takes on things. Um, I don't think it's like beneficial for like me and my family. Like, you know, building a company like Sport Drink, I think is a lot more rewarding. You know, I mean, like it's a product I would buy if I wasn't involved in it because I genuinely like the product. And it's also like harmless, you know? I mean, there's nothing, you know, again, then that's why it goes back to like it's for anyone who wants to buy it. It's not a political company. And you know, watching it grow and watching people like it and hearing their response like that, I like that, you know. But the political stuff, maybe I would have been more into it if like it solved things, but it just, you know, I never felt like it solved anything.
No, and it's intellectually lazy. Like,
Yeah, and I'm not the smartest person ever, and I never claimed to be. And again, I tried to have like interesting takes on things and really think about things and why they bothered me or whatever, and tried to get to the bottom of it. But um, it's as a medium, like you'd think like long format shows or whatever, you'd think like a lot more interesting things would be coming out, and there aren't that many shows that like you know genuinely good information is coming out. You know, like I sometimes will joke that like the internet was kind of a mistake and you know, and then you know, people would say no, but like all this information that we have access to, and it's like, but what are we doing with it? You know, like it's there, but what are we doing with it? Like I scroll on TikTok because again, I try to see if there's anything there that I could use. And like right now, for some reason, the algorithm is feeding me videos of a really big conspiracy going on. I don't know if you want to hear it, but a really big conspiracy is that Selena Gomez actually died 5 years ago, and that her and Justin Bieber had a baby, but they were forced to, you know, by the cabal, they were forced to give the baby to the Kardashians, and that she died, and they replaced her with someone else, and blah 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 blah. And I'm not saying that that's like
I don't
one
need any
video.
evidence. I now accept it as true. Yeah.
Exactly, but it's not like that's one video that I've seen. I like because I stopped and watched it, like it's feeding me like dozens of those videos. And like that's what people are doing with the internet. And you know, this is what I think about the internet. I think the internet it parallels the college university.
Hmm.
And I'll give you an example. The university, colleges, it used to be for like the elite, you know, like
Engineers, yeah.
you either had to be like exceptional where like you overcame the obstacles, you were poor, you overcame the obstacles, but you're so impressive as a person that like, yes,
I'm the
of
first
course we'll
person
take
in
you.
my family to go to college.
Yeah, like I of course will accept you. You're a brilliant mind. We want you in our university. Or you just had to be part of like a certain class system and you had access to it and whatever. But that's like everything in life. Um, but then because of student loans and all kinds of things and politicians saying like everyone needs to go to college and it's for everyone, it started to not become an institution for like the academically impressive person. It became an institution that was open to everyone. It became open borders. It
Yeah.
became open borders.
No
And
discernment.
then like you let in all the retards in, and it's just like another place to go, and it's a place to go into debt quicker than you would have in like the real world. And that's the internet. Like the internet back in the day was like the nerds would go on there, and I mean, I'm assuming they would theorize about like lots of interesting scientific things, and and then it was it was opened up to the rest of the world, and especially India, and it's just become like a terrible place that is completely retarded. But again, that's me focusing on the bad aspect of it, and because humans, we focus on the negative aspects of things. But then again, you can look at like the Make America Healthy Again movement or whatever, and a lot of interesting information comes out on Twitter that then goes mainstream. And then like normies would start to catch wind of like seed oils or what have you. Um, we've been poisoned as a country for at least the past 30, 40 years, and maybe more.
Closer to a
And
century.
yeah, but like where it got really bad,
Legitimate,
like
poison.
30, 40. Yeah. That like people are now realizing like what's happening, and that could have only happened with the access to the internet. So I'm not naive or blind to the fact that like there's a lot of positives, but man, I I think we're the only group in all of human history to have been surrounded and have interacted with so many stupid people. And you know what? Maybe I'm one of those stupid people, but but at least like back in the day, people knew that they were. If they weren't like the most impressive person, like someone knew, like yeah, I'm probably not a bright guy. I'm like a normal person, but because of the internet, like everyone thinks like they're fucking geniuses.
I actually, I'm a little more cynical in that I think everyone's always been this retarded. I really
No,
do.
of course, but back then, like people knew
No,
and
I don't.
accepted it.
I almost think because we look back, there's almost like a romantic nostalgia when you look back and,
Yeah, of course.
back in the day, and it's like, look at that picture. They're in a three-piece suit, and it's like a picture took 3 minutes to take, and you took one per decade. Like, so we're very limited between one little thing. If you went back there, it was probably chicks being sluts, dudes just
No,
drunk as
of course,
fuck saying stupid
of course.
shit. But we have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these
yeah, of
sepia
course.
tinted portraits next to a train, and we're like, they were so noble.
No, 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 no. I mean, I agree with that, but I think like back in the day that there was more at stake.
At least a
Um,
facade.
no, I mean there was more at stake.
I
Like,
mean, there was at
life
least
was.
an incentive to have a facade to like not act retarded.
I mean, definitely when we were more homogenous society, like we had more better manners than we do now.
100%.
And we had more of a common ground on like the grasp of reality or politics or whatever. I mean, like the differences people had weren't that vast. I mean, yes, like the Irish came and people hated the Irish and whatever. Like people hated the other, but that's normal. That's part of human nature to like instinctively be like, I don't like this person. They're
It's hazing.
different.
You're hazing the new group,
Yeah, but it's
and it's
also
good for
like
you.
completely normal. It's like not an abnormal thing. So no, but I think like back then, like in a more homogenous time, we had a lot more in common with each other. And like yes, like people got drunk, and yes, people slept around and whatever. But I think people valued life a little bit more maybe back then. I think that people not only valued life but cared about future generations a little bit more than we do now. Um, I think we live probably in the most selfish time in human history. And that's partially why a lot of people aren't having kids anymore, is because like, why should I have a kid?
Well, no.
I'm out here. I'm living for myself. I'm living my best life. And or even like Brian Johnson trying to live forever.
Yeah.
Like that is
To what end?
and honestly, like that's kind of satanic in my opinion. Like it's anti-God. It's trying to fight God. I
I
mean,
don't
like
need eternal life. I have it.
one of my favorite movies ever is like a universally panned movie called Only God Forgives. Ryan Gosling and Nicholas Winding Refn, the guy who did Drive. It's like came out in like 2012, but basically it's a movie. Basically, just to break it down quickly, it's like a guy who tries to like kill God. And it's abstract. Like if you read the synopsis of the movie, it doesn't say a guy trying to kill God.
But
So
yeah,
it's like an allegory, but um, it's basically that. And then like it come at the end of the movie, like he realizes like, oh shit, I can't do that, and then he like gives himself in a sense to God. Um, and I think like the Brian Johnson types, like you're literally your whole objective is not only is it anti-nature, but it's anti-God, and he's the ultimate version of like living for oneself. I mean, at least he has kids or a kid. I don't know how many he has, but I know he has one. But most people are completely selfish, and um, they don't. There's nothing at stake other than like fulfilling their most basic selfish desires. But yeah, I think people back in the day, I think like knew how brittle life was. Like they realized like how it could all go away like that. You could die from war, famine, disease, what have you. You can have six kids, three would die. So I think like people like live life a little bit more to the fullest back then, and not in like the superficial way we would now by like going to Europe or whatever
I'm going to
on
the
vacation.
canyon. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm just trying to like synthesize everything we're talking about and like, because yeah, like when I go to, and I've said this a million times, like and I'm a conservative guy, so it's not even like the other side. As a conservative right-leaning guy, every night when I like log on to Rumble and do a shitty game stream, I want to blow my brains out when I look at the front page, even though it's all things I voted for. Every thumbnail,
Yeah,
it's all Mad Libs. It's I can't believe what AOC said, these wackadoodle commies, and you're like,
it's all bullshit.
it's just
It's all
slop.
bullshit. It's
And
slop. It's all slop.
the thing
Yeah,
and no one wants to go into why. So it's like, let's talk about, why would you want to destroy the nuclear family? Why would you want to break these things down? Why would you want to say tariffs and reindustrialization are bad? Why would you want to get rid of a strong society? Well, these are all things that reduce the growth of just look at it like a bacterial culture. These are all things that reduce the growth and the survivability and the robustness of it. Why would you want to do that? Unless, of course, to a degree, you're trying to either implode the United States and or the planet in general, because you are either trying to be part of a breakaway civilization, either the 0.1000001% of people that are going to transcend and merge with machines, or if you're just a satanic pedophile, which is a large percentage of people now. These are all things that you would look at as those would be causes, and then all of this shit would be symptoms. Why the
yeah,
trannies? Why? But you don't want to go. They want to go for the immediate. It's a guy and like Dan Bongino, like had the ability, had the chance to blow the whistle on the satanic cannibals running the planet, and instead he left to go back to Rumble to talk about how dumb liberals are. And it's like,
yeah, yeah,
dude. And so
yeah,
if you look at all of that and then you go, well, what would be the point of this slop? What would be the point of talking about Selena Gomez not being dead or something? If you're trying to flood the zone with dog shit so that you don't look at more meaningful things like, why are we bombing Iran? Why are we doing this? You wouldn't want to talk about it. And then it goes into kind of quality of life. When everything in your life is going well, you try to get better and better and better. And I'll use this example. And I know we're coming up on an hour, so I'll let you go in a minute. But when I was in college and I got into medical school, was dead sober, working out 6 days a week, studying nonstop, doing great. And every day I would try to get a little better, add a little more cardio, meditate a little longer, try to be a little more grateful. When I decided not to go, and a couple months after I graduated, my older brother committed suicide, and it fucked me up. And I went down several years of pills, weight gain, everything, gained 70 pounds. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Moved home with my parents at age 26. I was at the bottom. When you're at the bottom, you don't really care about the nitty gritty. You're looking for the most basic shit. You're like, am I not going to kill myself today? Am I trying to stay? Am I going to brush my? That was a big thing for me. I'm like, I brushed my teeth today. You're kind of okay with all this other shit.
Yeah.
Now it's like doing the podcast for 6 years, 2 years sober, down 50 pounds. I'm trying to get better and better and better, trying to make the little margins better. That is a homogenous society. When everything is good and you're not worried about being raped on the southern border, literally and figuratively, you're going to try to, like you said, you maybe put a little more value in, we're going to raise the kids right. We're going to, we're going to
Yeah.
put God first, accept that there is a higher order. When you're at the bottom, everything's shit. No one even knows what a man and a woman is anymore. You are much less likely to be concerned about, I don't know, like effective tax rates. And instead, you're more of just, what do I get? Can I get the welfare? Can I get the food
Yeah.
stamps? So, on like a micro and macrocosm, I really do think that's why if I wanted to fuck with someone's life, I would make it so bad that they wouldn't care about the nitty gritty and
Yeah.
vice
Yeah.
versa.
Well, I
So,
mean, I remember like I'm 39, so I remember when I was in my teens, like people would argue about like healthcare or even like some bullshit like global warming, but it was still kind of like a thing, like, there were still
something constructive.
policies that people would argue about. And now it's just like
Slop.
complete, complete slop. And everyone's guilty of it. Like that's my whole point is like the conservative talking heads are guilty of
It's
it
just
because
bad.
like, but because they're not smart, like they're not interesting. Very few of them are actually like genuinely interesting to listen to. These are not deep thinkers. So you get those like exaggerated thumbnails on Rumble or YouTube or whatever, the soy facing
Yeah.
sort of thing. And, look, I've been on these people's shows. I know these people, and, most of them are not interesting people, and most of them are disingenuous and nefarious, and they don't live their lives like how they preach. So, yeah, sport drink.
Sport drink. No, and it's I do think though, much like colleges, like the vast majority of them are retarded, but there can still be good in there. I think that the
Yeah,
right people will find it if you're genuine. I really
yeah.
do. Like, for better or worse, what we just did is my podcast. Some people might call it a conversation, some people might call it schizophrenia, and
No, no, no. I'm here. It's not schizophrenia, so don't worry.
but I'm not here. And and but that's the whole thing, man. It's like there's no direction, no notes, and it's just a genuine thing. The people either connect or it goes this way and that way. And the thing about that is much like everything, there is no shortcut. Building muscle, or I'll use a very simple example, and then we'll wrap it. Is you know when we go up to like the lake when we were little kids, we try to like build a fire. We'd throw like lighter fluid and newspaper, and
Hmm.
we go up, and then my dad would be like, "You're retarded. You're just gonna smother it." You got to do
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pine cones, and then twigs, and then sticks, and then logs, and then it builds, and then you don't even have to touch it, and it'll be still be going tomorrow. After 6 years and 1,974 episodes of this show, I'm now real, and it's only dawning on me really in the last couple months. Thank God it never got big quick. It has forced me to be genuine. Like
Hmm.
you and I show up, and I show up with the same respect or lack thereof that I do with a general or I do with a doctor, and it's just you're getting the real me. There's no,
Hmm.
you know, and it's very slowly growing, but it's growing, I think, sustainably. And
Nice.
that's where I find the optimism. But I mean, I think the same goes for you. It's like, all jokes aside, that's like why I was following you. I was like, oh, these are like actual people. This
Yeah,
isn't like
yeah,
slam dunk, like get our sports drink. It's like one of the
yeah,
ingredients is
yeah,
joy. Fuck off. Like,
yeah,
that's not
yeah.
an ingredient. And you were like,
Yeah,
it is. And like,
it
I'm like,
is. Yeah,
that's a real human. So,
yeah.
yeah, man, I think and I don't think any of us are in a spot by chance. I think God put us here, and we are alive now in this spot. He didn't abandon us. So if we stop and slow down, we go, what are we doing here? God put us here for this time. Other people were put in different times. We're
Yeah.
here to be in the crazy AI slop, conservative conning,
Hmm.
dog shit TikTok. God put us here for this reason. Now, it might be because we're his dumbest soldiers. I accept that as a very real possibility.
Yeah.
But God didn't do this by accident. And that's kind of how I look at it. So, sport drink.
Sport drink. That's
Sport drink.
it.
Well, hey, man, appreciate your time, dude. This is
Yeah.
the
Thank
show for
you.
Beth. It's funny if as soon as we get off this, he just messages me and he's like, "We're not fucking associating with you anymore, you fucking racist." I'm like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, guys, Sport Drink promo code Tommy's podcast, and it's in the description, dude. I genuinely appreciate the time out of your day, and it was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, brother. God bless everybody. Stay safe. Don't. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Three quick organizations that I try to help through the podcast. I don't take any money from, and I wouldn't if they offered. First and foremost is ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. That's led by Basil Baz. It's been around since 1993. They physically liberate sex trafficked children. They get about 10 to 12 kids a year. I've got a fundraiser thrown for them before. You can go to the link in the description. You can donate, I think, as little as $1. It's tax deductible. They are truly doing the Lord's work. This isn't an awareness campaign. This isn't wristbands. They physically go in, kick down doors, and liberate children who are raped daily. They're doing the Lord's work. If you can go help them, you can go give $1. You can also take their training programs and do your best to help spot human trafficking in the world around you. It really is, if there's anything that this podcast accomplishes on this earth, I think it should be to help them. The second group is Invest, like a vest, a bulletproof vest, led by Mike Letts. 25% of police precincts in the United States cannot afford to give their, and this is true, cannot afford to give their officers cars, weapons, nor vests. They cannot do that. And you can donate as little as $1. They have donated over, I believe, 70,000 bulletproof vests in 30 years. Actually, Invest and ARC were both founded in 1983. Fun fact. And Invest is also doing something that is dovetailing actually with ARC. I put them in touch, BAR, Broken Arrow Ranch, which is to make sure that the kids who are rescued don't fall right back into the traffic system. So ARC, you can go in there and you can help them, and Invest, you can also go in there and help them. And lastly is the Church of the Barbarian Spirit. That's my buddy Clay Martin, Special Forces. It is a group to where Special Forces veterans are helping other Special Forces veterans in unconventional ways, be it fasting, be it psychedelics, be it just face-to-face talking, to reduce suicide rates. And as you guys know, suicide is very near and dear to me. So those are three groups that I really think are actively trying to make the world a better place instead of just talking about it. If you guys could just go check them out, go share their links, go do whatever you can. If you can donate, go donate. If not, that's cool too. But, long after I'm dead, and long after you guys are gone, I want the lasting impact of this podcast to be something that's genuinely helped the world. So if you guys can go check those out, that would be insanely appreciated. Thank you so much.